What is going on, everybody? CJC Congested JC presents WandA Workouts and Anime, and today we are here with the first chapter of the new year. I would have loved to have been able to review this a lot sooner, but I mean, with the congestion, honestly, this is as best as I'm sounding as of late, so take that into consideration. Before we get into the video, and before we get into the first discussion, which will be the cover story, I did a leg workout, posted a leg workout last week. Remember, CJC presents WandA Workouts and Anime, although we've been focusing more so on One Piece as of late. But yes, it was a workout. Check it out if you have not done so already. But now we will start with the cover story, and that is a mysterious base in Udon. Really interesting stuff because, I mean, the head of this castle, I mean, that's who's who. So I don't know if he got beheaded, gigantified. Like, there aren't that many characters who can do that in One Piece, right? Unless, who's who awakened his devil fruit or something and perhaps grew, but like that doesn't even make sense for zone devil fruits from what we've seen so far for awakenings. So I'm not sure why his head is on this castle. Maybe it was made to his liking. Perhaps he's the leader of this mysterious base. And honestly, perhaps Kaido could be alive. I mean, like, we genuinely don't know what's to come next of the cover story, but I think at this point I am truthfully interested into seeing what's next. But let's get on to the chapter, and we do have big fucking implications that I think that big implication I will talk about towards the end of this video because it is huge. But let's talk about some of the elements that are just honestly so refreshing to see in this chapter. And of course, that's all the Straw Hat dynamics, right? You got Luffy eating, Usopp capping, who beat Oars? That's right, it was me. And I love the fucking stupid look he gives. And I think this is a really interesting dynamic now with Jinbei, right? Like, I don't know how his character interactions, like what's his gag, so to speak, right? Everyone has a gag, but Jinbei, at least to my knowledge, so perhaps this is it, right? Like, wow, your skin's really blue. He's like, what the fuck? Huh? What did you say? And of course, you got Sanji gassing everything up. And of course, him being horny for the giant ladies. And for some people, I don't blame them. Alright? And of course, we got some interactions with Nami and Zoro, which is really nice. Rodo coming into the picture. And of course, we got some Zoro comedic, timing where it's like, hey, if Usopp didn't stop me, man, I would have kicked your ass. And possibly death. But neither here nor there. And of course, we have Gerd. Like, hey, don't hold back next time if that's the case. Which is fantastic. Like, I love the interactions. And I love how, Nami almost very much made Rodo into a slave, right? Like, once, Luffy, Zoro, Nami, I think those three interacting are very important. We get to see those again. And it's been a very long time. I want to say, like, pre-time skip was the last time we get to see those three, I think, really kick off an arc, right? Because up to this point, I mean, if you want to count what happens in Rodo's little Lego playroom or wherever the fuck that is, if you want to count that as the start of an arc, that's fine. But I think we are really getting to the climax of it because everything else has been just vibes. Finally seeing Elbaf, right, just partying it up. But now we get to explore a little more, and those three kicking it off. I think this is going to be a banger of an arc. So we will just have to wait and see. Of course, we get a funny interaction between, Nami and Rodo. And not even just like, yeah, you're a slave of mine, but also, hey, like, if this treasure just suddenly disappeared, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's genuinely fantastic. And I like the interaction between Vice Captain and Captain, where it's like, I thought you were acting a little weird, so that explains it. So I genuinely think that this is a real interaction to see and how this goes forward. But now he's like, well, look, I'll help you go free him, and we'll, whatever happens, happens. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's next from this. But getting towards the end part here, where we get to meet this robot girl, this weird-looking girl known as Gunko, one of 10 God's Knights. Of course, we get to see Shanks' brother, who knows who that person may be, but it appears Gunko has abilities very similar to Emu, right? So in the chapter where we get to see Sabo infiltrating Mary Joelle, right? Emu has this arrow-like ability, where Gunko here has an arrow-like ability. So what the parallels are, I'm not too sure. Perhaps if you're a God Knight, you get passed down this ability. I'm really not too sure what this arrow might be. So we're going to have to see on that going forward. But I kind of like the patience, the brief interactions that we're getting from Shanks' brother, cousin, whoever the fuck this guy is, where it's like, hey, like, if we were to spare him, would you change your mind then? I think it's really interesting to see these interactions as much as, we can get from him, right? Because he's very patient, similar to Shanks. So, just more so on the God's Knight side, right? So, I'm definitely looking forward to, if Shanks does come back, will they fight? Like, will this be it for the God's Knights? That's what I want to know. Like, will the other 8 come through? Or is this kind of it? But the big implication I do want to talk about that they mentioned in this chapter is the fact that there are possibly other variations of Sun God Nika. And it's kind of crazy that I think people's theories out there of, Blackbeard being the final villain, which I'm definitely been in support of. I think it makes the most sense, right? Because it can go either one of two ways. Where, Luffy and Blackbeard's beliefs are very similar trajectories, but just gone there very differently. So it can either be, the battle of two philosophies duking it out first to see which philosophy gets the challenge Emu, or once Emu's defeated, the battle of those two philosophies and which will lead the world going forward. It can go either way, and I'm fine with either way, but I think as of late it just makes more sense that Blackbeard is the final villain, knowing that Luffy's fruit is a zone fruit and not what we thought previously being paramecia. And perhaps Loki having this other version of Nika, I mean, it's... Oh, man. It's mind-blowing to the sense that, like, yeah, I mean, this very much could be true. I mean, but it's also like, would Blackbeard come here? Is Blackbeard coming to Elbaf? Because I'd imagine he's going to hit these other islands first, knowing that they have these ancient weapons. So it's not as if they, Blackbeard has an informant on Elbaf. Not to my knowledge. So I think them being on the complete opposites, where, Luffy's version is supposed to be one of laughter, right? There's one of laughter. I mean, that's what Luffy is, right? But other people saying, like, more like destruction, because we know that based on people's beliefs, if a lot of people believe in it, this devil fruit can form. So it's like there are different variations of Nika, and it's also like maybe Nika doesn't even exist. And what I really like here is that Luffy's getting this history lesson into his devil fruit, where it's like, yeah, I'm sure, like, he has nothing to do with me. So I do want to see where they go from this, where they kind of play into that prophecy, they kind of play into that that type of language, right? Fate, destiny, and kind of, and how Luffy kind of approaches that. So those are just my general thoughts on the chapter. I think it implies a lot going forward, right? Like, do you genuinely believe that, like, Blackbeard's gonna be the final villain? Like, do you believe he's coming to Elbaf? Because I think the Battle of Philosophies makes a lot of sense. But if Loki does believe that he has this destructive sun god fruit, then, either the God's Knights kill Loki now, take the fruit back to Mary Joa, and then, once the final battle commences, Blackbeard just so happens to eat the fruit, and he gets it then. Does Blackbeard come to Elbaf after some time? Like, it's... a lot's implied with the lore drop that they had for Nika, and then just for Devil Fruits in general. So we'll kind of see where this goes from here. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I mean, I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say and what your possible theory is going forward. And is Gunko related to Emu? Let me know. Or is that arrow ability just passed on to the God's Knights from Emu? Let me know in the comment section below. With that being said, I will see you all there and in the next video. Peace.